Hi everyone, it's Pete here from the Pain Toolkit, and I hope everybody's well. And today, I'll tell you what, let me just introduce Amanda to you. Good afternoon to you, Amanda. How are you today?
Hi Pete, how are you? I'm good.
Okay, that's excellent. I'm interviewing Amanda today for a simple reason. About a week ago, I mean, when I'm doing posts on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot, I'm always sort of saying that, you know, I haven't really taken any pain meds since '97. And when I was on the old treadmill last Monday down the gym, I was saying to myself, listen, there's got to be people out there like me who are self-managing without meds. So I put a bit of a shout out on social media, and Amanda was kind enough to come back to me. I think another lady from Australia come back, and I think I've got to organise an interview with her. But it was, I thought it'd be interesting for other people to know that there's other people out there who actually have had persistent pain or long-term pain and got into self-management, etc. And through doing all that stuff, there's no need to take any form of sort of medication. So anyway, it's a little bit over to you, Amanda. So can you sort of tell the audience a little bit about your pain journey, like where you just briefly about what sort of pain you got, and then sort of go on to, you know, what recovery program you used and etc. We'll go on from there. How does that sound?
That sounds great. So, long story short, was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2009. So just over 10 years ago now. At that time, was working as a care assistant in an elderly home. So heavy duty work, long hours. So at first I had thought the pain was maybe just work related. It's a stressful job, it's a heavy going job. But after a while it was persisting, back and forth to the doctors, one thing or another. Took about a year and a half, which for somebody with fibromyalgia, that's actually a quick time to get a diagnosis. GP had said, I think that's what it is. I had a bit of knowledge of the condition because of having friends who had it. Was referred to a rheumatologist who poked and prodded for a bit, because that's the basic test for fibromyalgia, because there's no blood test, there's no scans. It's basically poke and prod in certain places, you know, and if you score a certain amount of pressure points, as they call it, then you win a chronic illness.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happened. The rheumatologist said, there's a booklet which was helpful. He said you will have questions. I was also friends, I had friends with the condition, so that led me into Fibromyalgia Action UK and their support groups, which was fantastic, because it meant, and my GP fully admitted this, that meant I had more knowledge of the condition than he did. So I was actually able, even at that time when I was using medication, I was still able to be proactive and go to him and say, listen, somebody at the support group mentioned this, somebody at the support group mentioned that, can I try it? But that led on to a hamster wheel thing of gradually stronger medications, till 5 years in, got to the point of being on tramadol, gabapentin and still having pain. And then thought, if this is the way it has to be for the rest of my life, there has to be another way to do this. And that was the point when I started looking at the more holistic route. A few people at the support group I go to actually had been referred to the NHS Centre for Integrative Care in Glasgow. It is an absolute godsend of a place, and it's not too strong to say that place quite possibly saved my life. Well, it didn't actually save that life, it gave me a new life. Yeah. If that makes sense.
What sort did you learn while you was on that programme? What did you learn?
I did 2 programmes there that were really helpful. I did a thing called the WELL programme, which is Wellness Enhancement Learning, I believe the abbreviation is, and that was looking at mindset, and there's a bit of cognitive behavioural therapy stuff in there, and just looking at the things that you were doing or not doing that were maybe adding to the condition. So although it didn't specifically target the pain, it targeted maybe the way the relationship I had with the pain. It, you know, it looked at unhelpful behaviours and things that were maybe meaning I wasn't looking after myself as well as I should have. So from that course, followed on to a mindfulness-based CBT course with them as well. And again, that led to kind of coming more into learning the mindfulness side of things and looking at the connection that had and the connection between the mind and the body. And from there, I think within about a year of being referred there and working with them, I was down to no medication whatsoever.
Okay.
And it's not that I don't still experience pain. I have a better, I started accepting it was there. You know, there's a function, there's still a level of function, and probably now that I'm more accepting of it being there, there's probably a greater level of function than I had when I was taking the medication, if that makes sense.
It does. How long have you been, how long ago since how many years now since have you been managing your fibromyalgia without medication?
That must be about, yeah, just 4 years or so.
4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So what sort of things do you do from the skills and knowledge that you learned from the wellness program and the CBT stuff? Is that stuff you put into your everyday life, is it?
Yeah, that, and I've also done that set me on a path of wanting to study things myself. Okay. So I've done like holistic pain management diplomas and things like that as well.
Okay.
Just to kind of follow on and enhance what I'd learned there. So it's things like the mindfulness, using meditation. I'm huge into using creativity as a coping tool. I was a big kind of crafter before I took ill, and that really became a saving grace for me and became a great avenue for sort of the distraction tool, but as a coping tool as well. So the days when I do need that pick me up, I need to be doing something, I can go and, you know, pull out some sewing, pull out a canvas and just create and connect with that side of things. I've always found that quite helpful too.
What would be your take-home message to someone watching this today? So because I want to put this on put it on YouTube in a minute and then post it on social media. So if someone comes to you today and say, look, I've watched your video and whatnot, I found it really interesting. But what would be your take-home message to someone who who's got long-term pain or fibromyalgia, and what would be your take-home message to them?
Especially for people with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is such an individual. There's not a tick box stereotypical person with fibromyalgia. So that's why I think the self-management thing is so important, because there isn't a one-size-fits-all treatment. It is very individual and about doing what you can do for yourself to manage your own symptoms. Often with these persistent pain conditions, the doctor's understanding of them is so limited that I would never say don't take medication. If someone's on medication and it's working for them, that's absolutely fine, that's great. But when it's not, I think it's up to us to reclaim our bodies almost and find what works for us.
Listen, that's a really, I think the messages there got some really positive messages, and out of all the emails that I get from people who contact me, fibromyalgia is the one that keeps is the most common, the most emails I get about, really, you know. And when I talk to healthcare professionals there, when I go to conferences and stuff like that, they always say, yeah, you know, so that's the one we keep scratching our heads with, like as I'm doing now. You know, it's the tricky one. But so it's a really good message you got there, Amanda, that is possible. And I think with most managing pain, it's a self-management. It's not something you sit back on. It's something you've got to take action. You've got to do something.
Yeah.
You've got to be proactive, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. And it's an ongoing process. I mean, I think we were discussing before we started recording about, you know, issues and things where it gives you an opportunity to tweak things, you know, if you do ever flare up.
Yeah.
So it's not about, and you were sharing this earlier on your page as well, but it's not about not having issues, it's how you deal with them when they do arise. And the more we kind of put into developing your self-management, then, and to quote the fact your thing called a pain toolkit, well, the more things you learn that work for you, the bigger your toolkit is.
Yeah.
You know, of things that you can call on when you are on those bad days.
Yeah. And as we were saying earlier on, like, you know, I'm having a pain setback myself. It's took me a little bit by surprise, and but again, see, you know, I've got a setback plan, and it's funny enough when I sort of, when my pain kicked off on Saturday morning, I thought, you know, the plan I had, I thought it might probably, well, I have to be honest, it was probably too old. So it was quite evident that by Saturday evening, I had to tweak it in some bit to update it and whatnot. So the stretching and stuff and what I was doing wasn't quite working. So I started doing a bit of research and looking around for new stretches and stuff I could do. So a little bit back on track. But hey, listen, thanks very much for taking part and doing the interview today. I really much appreciate your time. In a minute, I'm going to hit the stop button on the stop recording, but just hang around, all right?
Will do.
So this is Amanda from all the way from Paisley in lovely Scotland, one of my favourite places in the UK to visit. So the sun is, Amanda told me the sun's out. The sun's out here in Essex, but not for long. But thanks very much, Amanda. And I dare say we'll keep in touch.
Definitely. Lovely to talk. Yeah.